Hello, this is Camnet Television Main News. To present, my name is Jeffrey Siambo. Our top stories in the news tonight: women's movement demands legal reforms to support equal participation in leadership. Brand MUNDUBILE defends the patriotic fronts over borrowing. SAMPA sues PF CADRE MAXWELL CHONGU for defamation. In international news, Bolsonaro faces uncertain political future as Brazil trial starts. And in sports news, UKUSEFYA traditional ceremony attracts a golf tournament.
The FAR's 2022-2023 season is over, and the 2023-2024 season is around the corner. Camnet Stars Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, is looking for young talented football players from across Zambia, aged between 16 and 23 years old. Camnet soccer trials will be held on the 30th of June and the 1st of July 2023, Soccer at 09 hours. The venue is Kabulonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Your skills could earn you a place in the world of soccer greats in Zambia and the world. Camnet Stars Football Club, the local national team, is a team born for greatness with visionary players. Let us join hands and contribute to high levels of Zambian football standards. Don't miss these trials. The future of Zambian soccer is dependent on you. Make a date with us. Remember, you are born for greatness. See you there.
Hello again. Another news in detail. Matero area member of parliament Miles SAMPA has sued Patriotic Front CADRE MAXWELL CHONGU in the Lusaka High Court for alleging that he was behind the death of 19-year-old NIPA student Ruth Mbandu, who was brutally murdered in 2012. Mr. SAMPA, who is also PF presidential hopeful, claims the allegations leveled against him by Mr. Chongu have caused him damage and to his reputation. Mr. SAMPA wants the court to order the defendant to issue an apology on a media platform circulating widely throughout the country and damages for defamation. More in this report.
Opposition Patriotic Front Matero area member of parliament Miles SAMPA has dragged one of his party members to court for alleging that he was behind the death of 19-year-old National Institute for Public Administration NIPA student Ruth Mbandu, who was brutally murdered in 2012. Mr. SAMPA, is also PF presidential hopeful, has sued PF CADRE MAXWELL CHONGU in the High Court for allegedly issuing derogatory remarks against him. According to a statement filed before court, Mr. SAMPA claims that Mr. Chongu has been spreading falsehood against him via a WhatsApp group which consists of more than 500 participants. The gruesome killing of NIPA student Ruth Mbandu sent chills in the spines of many. It was unusual slaying of the 19-year-old that shocked many people who had been waiting to see justice saved and the killers caged. Those who were arrested in relation to a murder were discharged due to lack of evidence, leaving many question who might have done it. According to a document submitted before court, Mr. Chongu has been making multiple accusations against Mr. SAMPA in relation to the murder. Mr. SAMPA feels his good reputation has seriously been injured and he has suffered considerable stress. He now wants the court to order Mr. Chongu to make an apology on social media platform circulating widely across the country. Further, an order that the defendant retracts the words he published. The Matero area member of parliament has also told court that he seeks damages for defamation and any other relief that the court might deem fit. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The state has denied allegations by Transport and Logistics Minister Frank Tayali that police officers wrongly assaulted him while he escorted President Hakainde Hichilema at Force headquarters in 2020. This is a matter in which Mr. Tayali has sued the state, demanding damages for the aggravated assault he allegedly suffered at the hands of a police officer in 2020. The lawmaker wants the Lusaka High Court to order the Attorney General, who he has cited as a respondent in the matter, to also award him interest on the sums payable to him at the current bank lending rate and any other relief the court may deem fit. He says he was physically assaulted by an overzealous police officer who pointed an AK-47 rifle at his head when he accompanied President Hakainde Hichilema as then UPND president for questioning. However, in defense, the state has told the Lusaka High Court that officers were trying to stop unruly UPND cadres. The state has submitted that some unruly cadres from UPND disembarked from the convoy, and in order to stop them, officers pointed a gun at them. Government has since urged the court to dismiss the case on grounds that Mr. Tayali is not entitled to any reliefs sought. The Lusaka magistrate has granted convicted former Kafue Gorge Regional Training Director Kaela Siame 50,000 kwacha bail in his own recognizance pending appeal. Mr. Kaela, who is currently in detention after he was sentenced to 2-year imprisonment with hard labor for allegedly approving payment of subsistence allowance to KGRTC workers worth 35,000 United States dollars, has appealed against his sentence in the Lusaka High Court. When the matter came up for bail application hearing, the convict, through his lawyer, asked Magistrate Faide Samaundu to grant him bail as the appeal procedures and requirements have been met. More in this report.
The 48 months that he was supposed to spend behind the freezing prison of Lusaka have been cut short after the Lusaka Magistrate Court Friday, the 23rd of June 2023, exercised its discretion and granted convicted former Kafue Gorge Regional Training Center Director Kaela Siame 50,000 kwacha bail in his own recognizance pending appeal. Mr. Kaela, who is currently in detention after he was sentenced to 2 years imprisonment with hard labor for illegally approving payment of subsistence allowances to KGRTC workers worth 35,000 United States dollars, has appealed against his sentence in the Lusaka High Court. When the matter came up for bail application hearing, the convict, through his lawyer, requested Magistrate Faide Samaundu to grant him bail as the appeal procedure and requirements have been met. The convict, who has been temporarily freed, is challenging his sentence and has relied on 5 grounds of appeal, among them that the court erred in law and fact in convicting him with evidence from the witnesses that the decision to approve the subsistence allowances instead of out-of-pocket allowance for the fully sponsored external trips was made by management and ratified by the board. His other ground of appeal is that the court erred when it gave him a custodial sentence despite knowing fully well that the 35,000 United States dollars he is said to have illegally approved was recovered. On June 2nd, 2023, Magistrate Faide Samaundu found Mr. Siame guilty on 9 charges of abuse of authority. According to facts before court, Mr. Siame between 2016 and 2020 abused his authority of office when he, on multiple occasions, approved application for subsistence allowances amounting to 35,000 United States dollars for a project that was fully sponsored, an act prejudicial to the rights and interests of government, a matter of transaction involving the Kafue Gorge Regional Training Center, a public body. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Women Parliamentary Caucus Chairperson Princess Kasune says there is need to tackle gender-based discrimination, bias and stereotypes that undermine women's credibility and limit their opportunities. Speaking when she officially opened the African Annual Young Women Leadership Summit in Lusaka Friday, Ms. Kasune says political parties as key stakeholders must embrace inclusivity, actively recruit and support women candidates, and ensure that women have equal representation at all levels of leadership. Meanwhile, Ruth Ambogo says there is need for legal reforms that will compel systems to allow women have equal representation at all levels of leadership.
Active participation and the leadership of women that can address the challenges we face and unlock the immense potential that lies within our diverse communities. Personally urge that at the end of the day, if party representatives, the key leaders such as secretary generals in our parties are not engaged or are not on board, we will not see the results. And that is why it is important that key stakeholders such as party officials in our different parties are leading the charge.
In Kenya, for instance, we do have in our constitution under Article 27 that not more than 2/3 of representation within elective or appointive bodies should be of the same gender. And that has not been implemented because every time the judiciary issues orders, Parliament fails to comply because they know that the orders are weak and there is nothing that can absolutely be done to make sure that enforcement is possible. So weak judicial systems are our biggest enemy as women trying to seek representation in the political systems and other decision-making platforms.
50% of the population in Zambia, and there are a lot of capable women out there. So the 50% women who can be found, and it's possible to ensure that all appointments are 50-50 because the women are there. They're there in numbers and they're competent. So that's what I meant, that when we have laws, the laws must not leave room for somebody to make a choice whether to follow them or not.
Leader of the opposition in Parliament, MUNDUBILE, has defended the external debt that was accumulated during the Patriotic Front administration, stating that they borrowed for development. Addressing the media Friday, MUNDUBILE says the former ruling party can point at various infrastructures such as airports, flyover bridges, schools and health facilities, which he says are a product of the debt. He has therefore wondered why the former ruling party is only being painted black over the debt they accumulated without their achievements being recognized. More in this report.
Members of Parliament from the former ruling Patriotic Front PF party convened Friday afternoon on their quest to continue providing checks and balances on governance issues in the country. The MPs have responded to accusations laid on them by the ruling United Party for National Development (UPND) that they borrowed recklessly without any consideration for the well-being of future generations. Addressing the media, Leader of the opposition in Parliament, MUNDUBILE, while commending the debt restructuring process that has been agreed on with Zambia's creditors in France, says the result of the debt that was accumulated by the former ruling party can be seen in public infrastructure.
We are talking about road infrastructure. We are talking about communication infrastructure. We are talking about health infrastructure. We are talking about water infrastructure, among others. And this is exactly what brought about the debt that has been restructured today. Colleagues would want to come and argue, we can't see the development that has been talked about. Those of you that have been driving around Lusaka knew that from around 2017-2018, we were faced with a serious problem of congestion. Today you've got flyover bridges now. You've seen how easy it has been to get around Lusaka and so on. Under the L400 project, which was talking about roads within Lusaka, today are talking about ring roads. The values of properties in Lusaka went up because of this decision.
Mr. MUNDUBILE has also alleged discrimination of PF MPs at Parliament.
Members of Parliament are clothed with immunities and privileges by law. If somebody is going to give comfort to police officers, that police officers can walk here and arrest an MP, let them try. I dare them today. Let them take that chance to try to come and arrest an MP here. That will be the day. And I'm daring you, the police, come to Parliament trying to arrest any of my MPs. We will not take that anymore.
Meanwhile, Lukasha MP George Chisanga has also called on Minister of Home Affairs and Internal Security Jack Mwimbu to address the alleged arrest of PF members without police call-out.
Do not call that the rule of law. I hope that somebody somewhere has been watching what has been happening to the member, and somebody will go to power, especially the public protector in government. We will ensure that if Mr. Mamba decides to take on this government, in seeking reparation, he's going to be given the opportunity to present his case, and all those police officers who were responsible for mishandling him and those who assaulted him brutally are going to be held personally accountable for what they did. It's not only him. Lucio was in custody for 3 days. He's in here? 5 days. 5 days. He was in custody for 5 days. In a matter where he could simply have gone to the police in the morning and in the afternoon to be facilitated to get police call. But because Lucio is associated with the Patriotic Front, he was meant to remain incarcerated for those 5 days in very horrific conditions in custody.
Zipporah Mshala reporting for Camnet TV News.
The ruling United Party for National Development, UPND Secretary General Batuke Imenda, says Zambians made a terrible experiment to vote the Patriotic Front into government, alleging that the previous administration spent carelessly without putting the citizens into consideration. Mr. Imenda says he is aware of attempts for the former president to contest the 2026 election so as to continue plundering the country's resources, which he described as impossible. Speaking during a media briefing Friday when he received some former PF officials into his party, Mr. Imenda has reiterated the government's need to develop the country. Meanwhile, former Civil Service Commission Vice Chairperson Hilary Chipango says the UPND has motivated him to join politics through agendas he terms progressive. Here's a report.
In jubilation following the International Monetary Fund's declaration to restructure the country's debt, United Party for National Development Secretary General Batuke Imenda says the country made a grave experiment to vote the previous administration into government. Speaking when he received former Civil Service Commission Vice Chairperson Hilary Chipango and former PF Milenge Council Chairperson Chanda Masheke, Mr. Imenda says most of the challenges the country is facing were inflicted by the Patriotic Front government through careless borrowing.
We as Zambians made a terrible experiment by giving a party which was not ready to rule, by giving someone who stood and told the nation, I have no vision. By what happened yesterday in Paris. So we must, as a country, appreciate. It's for the same reason that we are thanking these two gentlemen who have seen the...
Meanwhile, former Civil Service Commission Vice Chairperson Hilary Chipango says he decided to join politics because the UPND administration speaks to the agenda he subscribes to.
But I've decided to join the United Party for National Development because of the numerous developments that I have seen myself. As a democratic nation, every individual has a democratic right. Here, member of the Civil Service Commission, there are a number of issues that we should have done, but we were dragging to act on them. And this is something that is being done correctly by the United Party for National Development.
And former PF Milenge Council Chairperson Chanda Masheke says his defection to the UPND comes in the wake of policies such as the free education government introduced.
I have decided, I and the people of Milenge, we have come to join the UPND. I'll be failing you in my duties if we don't mention what the people of Milenge is appreciating what the new government is doing. Yes. Number one, as already mentioned by Bwana Chipango, the education sector. My daughter is a beneficiary of free education. Within my house, surely can't you appreciate what Bwana Sami HH and this government and the UPND family is doing?
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Expert Sixtus Mulenga has challenged the Zambia Revenue Authority not to use large-scale tax framework on small-scale miners. Mr. Mulenga says small-scale miners should not ask for tax holidays from the government, but pay taxes to promote development, but says the taxes should be appropriate. Mr. Mulenga says there is need to come up with a framework on how the small-scale miners can be taxed without being constrained. Meanwhile, the Zambia Revenue Authority Commissioner Direct Taxes Joseph Nonde says the role of the authority is not to collapse businesses, but ensure that it collects the much-needed revenue to develop the country. More in this report.
Small and medium-scale miners in Zambia have time and again complained on the high taxes they have been subjected to, yet large-scale miners have been given tax holidays. To that effect, The Zambia Revenue Authority ZRA Friday morning convened with small and medium-scale miners to discuss the aspect of mine taxation. While at the meeting, mineral expert Sixtus Mulenga challenged small-scale miners not to seek tax holidays but pay taxes, further challenging ZRA to ensure that the taxes are appropriate.
Let's not use large-scale tax framework to small-scale mining. So can we spend time today? Can we spend time and come up with innovative ideas? The bottom line, we should all pay tax. So there should not be appeal to government that we should not pay tax. No, how is Zambia going to grow if we don't pay tax? So the issue, we must pay appropriate tax.
A mining right application, pay area charges, there is the corporate tax, there are mineral royalty taxes, customs and excise duty taxes, there's value addition, and then we have presumptive turnover tax, we have withholding tax, we pay ZEMA approval fees, which is about 12,999, consultancy fees for EPBs, pegging fees, ZAWA, geological mapping, and council inspection.
The Zambia Revenue Authority has also spoken to the initiative it has employed to improve tax compliance among small and medium-scale miners.
There are systems in place. Mineral value chain, Moses is able to detect some of these transactions. As long as they will cross the border, you will need to come to ZRA. And there will be delays if things are not correctly done from the first time we are doing business. I want to encourage everyone to do things right, okay? Because the systems that are in place, we collaborate with the Ministry of Mines. They will not issue a permit if there's no clearance from ZRA. So these systems will ensure that we match. We have got information with us. Please, my encouragement, my appeal is that let us do things correct.
Meanwhile, the announcement by government that it has reached an agreement on a comprehensive debt treatment with the creditors has elated the SADC Vice President of Women in Mining, Grace Njapao, who says this will now attract investment not just in the mining sector but other sectors as well.
The crime of the high cost of living. Why? Because things were not well in the past. Now the present is another thing that we have to say bravo to the president, bravo to New Dawn government. This is the way to go. Because some of us, we were in Manawasa government and we know how it was. It was hard from the beginning, but eventually things went on very, very, very well. Even this time, trust me, things will be very, very well.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Copperbelt Energy Corporation, CEC, has emphasized the need for partnerships, innovative structuring and financing solutions to overcome challenges of the demand and supply gaps in the mining sector with renewable energy. Speaking during a panel discussion at Africa Energy Forum in Nairobi, Kenya, CEC Chief Financial Officer Mukuka Mutale says most countries in the region have undertaken energy sector reforms that enable large-scale power users or consumers, such as the mining companies, to directly contract their power requirements from independent power producers. Mr. Mutale explains that the framework provides an opportunity for investment in energy infrastructure to address the power deficit. He has observed that funding of infrastructure projects generally, requirements and allocation risks have continued to be some of the barriers hindering investments in the power projects to meet the power deficit. Mr. Mkuka reiterates that there is an opportunity for stakeholders to review the traditional risk allocation and to make it more relevant and adaptable to the changing landscape. A Copperbelt-based clergyman, Pastor Charles Chilesha, has alleged that the Mines and Minerals Development Minister, Paul Kabuswe, has failed to resolve the issue at Konkola Copper Mine and Mopani Copper Mines on the Copperbelt province. Pastor Chilesha says it is clear that Mr. Kabuswe has failed the people on the Copperbelt who are suffering due to the non-functionality of the two mines. He has suggested that the president should instead consider replacing Mr. Kabuswe with Minister of Commerce, Trade and Industry, Chipoka Mulenga, who is also a leader on the Copperbelt.
We, the people of the Copperbelt province of Zambia, have for the past 6 months long been making pleas and petitioning the government of the Republic of Zambia to revive and revamp the operations of KCM as well as Mopani Copper Mines PLC, these two mining giants of the Copperbelt province. Since we haven't had proper resolutions and proper solutions, people on the Copperbelt are waxing impatient, people are distraught, families are dividing, and there are so many problems, myriads of problems that are emanating from the non-functional or non-functionality of the mines on the Copperbelt. We now have discovered somehow that His Excellency, the President, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, is very much willing to see to it that the mines on the Copperbelt are operational again. He is very much committed, but he can't do the job alone. That's why he has appointed the minister. So we are now appealing to the appointing authority, who is the president, to remove and fire the Minister of Mines, because he has failed. He has failed the people of the Copperbelt, he has failed the people of Zambia, he has failed the president, and he has failed all of us.
You're watching Camnet Television Main News. We'll take our first break. Join us for more news after the break.
You know I can take her a break.
Yes,
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti. I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Deborah, have you connected to the Wi-Fi on the bus? It's fast, it's amazing. I've just downloaded my books. I'm about to complete the series. It's nice, too, me.
No, I'm actually watching a reality show. He's about to propose. Oh, so sweet.
Make your trip seem short yet comfortable and safe when you use the UBZ luxurious fully air-conditioned coaches that come fitted with amazing onboard entertainment, passenger information services, coffee-making facilities and fridge for your hot and cold beverages, free and interrupted Wi-Fi for your gadgets, phone charging facilities, comfortable seats that recline to offer extra resting posture, safety seat belts, adjustable reading lights for each traveling client, and of course, clean flushing toilets for your convenience. So travel in luxury and safety with UBZ luxurious coaches. UBZ will always take you there.
The FARS 2022-2023 season is over, and the 2023-2024 season is around the corner. Camnet Stars Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, is looking for young talented football players from across Zambia, aged between 16 and 23 years old. Camnet soccer trials will be held on the 30th of June and the 1st of July 2023 in Lusaka at 09 hours. The venue is Kabulonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Your skills could earn you a place in the world of soccer greats in Zambia and the world. Camnet Stars Football Club, the local national team, is a team born for greatness with visionary players. Let us join hands and contribute to high levels of Zambian football standards. Don't miss these trials. The future of Zambian soccer is dependent on you. Make a date with us. Remember, you are born for greatness. See you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts, and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back. We'll continue with Camnet Television main news. Munali Member of Parliament Mike Mposha has challenged local authorities to expedite the process of releasing funds to the communities. Mr. Mposha says the delays are causing the government developmental agenda to lag further, disadvantaging the needy in communities. Speaking at a groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of two 1x3 classroom blocks at Chanama Special School, Charleston School, and construction of Kamanga Police Post at over 1 million kwacha from the 2022 CDF allocation, Mr. Mposha says government is committed to deliver to the benefits of the residents. Meanwhile, Acting Mayor Njomona Chimoka has called on the local leadership to partner in realizing a project that will avert the mushrooming of groups of young boys called junkies. Here's a report.
While in many urban parts of the country, the cry has been that Constituency Development Fund is underutilized, especially in peri-urban areas. The case is different as residents of Kamanga in Lusaka's Munali constituency will see the fruits of the CDF. This comes to light as Area Member of Parliament has flagged off the construction of Kamanga Police Post at a cost of 745,651 kwacha, the construction of a 1x3 classroom block at Charleston School and Chainama Special School costing over 2 million kwacha. However, the Munali MP has challenged local authorities to speed up the process of allocating the funds, explaining that communities are in need of development.
To come and deal with the criminal elements in here, who assist to service Kamanga compound and other surrounding areas. Through the construction of the police post, we anticipate that police officers will have easy access to Kamanga community and increase the number of patrols, thereby reducing or indeed stopping criminal activities.
During the groundbreaking ceremony, Area Council and Acting Mayor of Lusaka, Njomona Chimoka, called for the need to create strategies that will address local gangs, popularly known as junkies, as the funds are being rolled out.
Lessen the difficulties our children, brothers, sisters, nieces, and nephews face in accessing education and health. Honorable Minister, ladies and gentlemen, today the city is facing a major time bomb in the name of junkies. If left unchecked and uncontrolled, Honorable Minister, sir, we need to devise strategies that will culminate in controlling most of the criminal activities happening in most of our peri-urban and unplanned settlement of our city. Just here in Kamanga, there are a lot of criminal activities happening, done by criminal groups called junkies.
The residents are happy that once finalized, the project will help in addressing different vices the constituency is faced with.
He's listening and he listened. Banashta approve of many projects America pushing up office ya CDF. The honorable approved of the police post because waona kulira kwatu. Imwena is setting the remains ya officer in charge so nchito yao ipepuke. Majangi ativuta tonsai. So nipe mpakuti lero taronjezana na honorable watu kuti chintu tizachista protect.
In the next 3 months, residents of Kamanga expect the project to be delivered as per the promise of Leveka Enterprise, Asnet General Dealers and Wasa Investment, the contractors engaged. But Area Member of Parliament has a word of caution to the contractors.
Agreeing that you deliver within 3 months.
Yes.
Let us push that we deliver within 3 months. If you have any problems in terms of delayed payments and all that, my office is open.
Once complete, the residents of Kamanga will tell the story of how the funds will do the world of good to them. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Chikankata constituency member of parliament Jacqueline Savao has predicted that the problem of high unemployment rates, especially among women and the youth, will significantly reduce if they take advantage of empowerment opportunities under the Constituency Development Fund (CDF). Speaking during the handover of over 2.4 million kwacha in Constituency Development Fund CDF loans to 35 cooperatives in Chikankata on Friday, Ms. Savao has urged the beneficiaries to become employers of local people within the constituency once they expand. Meanwhile, one of the beneficiaries, Fizwa Mainza, says such opportunities have brought equality, stating that even those who have not been to school are being considered. More in this report.
Zambia, like other third world countries, is grappling with high unemployment rates, which are mostly affecting women and the youth, according to the International Labour Organization (ILO). This has seen many youth who are mostly graduates roaming the streets amidst limited formal employment opportunities, hence robbing the country of human capital needed for development. Chikankata Member of Parliament in Southern Province Jacqueline Savao has therefore called on those without jobs or financing to seize opportunities under the Constituency Development Fund (CDF). She was speaking during the handover of 2,343,000 kwacha CDF loans to 35 cooperatives in her constituency Friday.
Further, we recognize the pivotal role that small businesses play in driving economic growth and creating employment opportunities through CDF. These grants are not mere financial assistance, they are investments in the dreams, aspirations, and economic well-being of our constituency. Today, we are also extending 35 empowerment loans to aspiring entrepreneurs. These loans are not just financial transactions, they are partnerships built on trust, support, and shared aspirations.
Other stakeholders who were present at the handover also gave their views.
That we need to put to good use this money. Because being a loan, it must be recovered, so that other people can also benefit. We are grateful too that we have heard that more money has already been received. And that a few bottlenecks have been removed. That means the system is now faster.
So I will take this opportunity, guest of honor, to request that the applicants who are not successful last time, and those who are forming cooperatives and other organizations through which we can use to access this money for the public, can quickly work in conjunction with our WDCs so that we can expedite the issue of giving out the 2023 loan component as soon as possible.
Meanwhile, beneficiaries of the loans have also spoken out.
Batu iba banki mungato mugamba uti aya mali tahi mali aguhe ntutulie amana amanine pe aya mali ni siti mane nabona muntu uli mbuto.
Zipora Mshala reporting for Camnet TV News.
International Finance Corporation IFC country representative Andy Liempi says small and medium enterprises in Zambia need increased access to borrowing services if they are to expand their businesses. Mr. Liempi, however, says most lending companies in Zambia have strict demands around borrowing, often rejecting collateral such as motor vehicles in preference for land or houses. He, however, notes that programs such as the integration of the movable property registration systems MPRS administered by the Patents and Companies Registration PACRA and the Motor Vehicle Registration Systems MVRS administered by the Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA will go a long way in building the confidence of lenders in small businesses. The integration of the MPRS and the MVRS will ensure the smooth verification of interests on any motor vehicle registered as collateral.
So I think with this integration, we hope that SME financing can increase in the country. The IFC did a report in 2020 to look at why the usage of pack registry was not as high as anticipated. And in that report, one of the recommendations among the many was that there was no integration between the pack and RATSA systems, such that, for example, when banks register these motor vehicles as collateral at RATSA, they were not guaranteed that that person, the owners of those motor vehicles will not sell those vehicles or those machineries. But with this integration, that uncertainty is removed. So that means that once the banks and financial institutions register at RATSA and PACRA, then it means that the security is intact. No one can go to RATSA and sell without RATSA notifying PACRA. And in that way, that sort of fraudulent sale will be curtailed.
Further, it also gives a person who intends to purchase a motor vehicle an option to conduct a search in the collateral register to ascertain whether a specified vehicle is subject to a security interest. Road transport being one of the major modes of transport in our country, as a result, the agency supports every effort that will make motor vehicle registration process more efficient by linking related systems in the road transport subsector. In order for this to be achieved, it is also very important that users of the systems are properly equipped with skills that help them manage these systems efficiently.
The ruling United Party for National Development Northwestern Provincial Youth Chairman Bruce Kanema has urged residents in the province not to lose hope, as government is doing everything possible to bring development. Mr. Kanema's reaction comes after some residents of Northwestern Province complained that the government has neglected the province. He admits that Northwestern Province has poor road infrastructure among other challenges, but says government is aware of the challenges that most residents are facing in the province. The ruling youth chairman says people should not worry, as President Hakainde Hichilema is a good leader who he says pays attention to the needs of people.
That even the township roads, including the provincial headquarters, which is always does not have the roads that are up to the bituminous standard. It is actually a concern, but I want to urge the people of Northern Province not to lose hope, because the UPND government is actually on course and is very much attentive to the needs of Northwestern Province. What is there is that, of course, today we can be happy to hear the President has struck the deal to the fact that the debt restructuring has finally come to a flourish. Our people in Northwestern Province must not be worried, because we have got a very good striker, His Excellency Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. He's on course actually. What has caused this? I want to bring this to the people of Northwestern to know that it is not the UPND government that neglected this province. It is not President Hakainde Hichilema that neglected this province. It is actually the PF which neglected this province for 10 years. So it would be very much unfair for people to call names and finger point on this New Dawn government for failing to provide or rather work on the roads in the Northwestern Province.
We'll take a second and final break. Join us for more in international sports news after the break.
The FARS 2022-2023 season is over, and the 2023-2024 season is around the corner. Camnet Stars Football Club, popularly known as the local national team, is looking for young talented football players from across Zambia, aged between 16 and 23 years old. Camnet soccer trials will be held on the 30th of June and the 1st of July 2023 in Lusaka at 09 hours. The venue is Kabulonga Boys Secondary School grounds. Your skills could earn you a place in the world of soccer greats in Zambia and the world. Camnet Stars Football Club, the local national team, is a team born for greatness with visionary players. Let us join hands and contribute to high levels of Zambian football standards. Don't miss these trials. The future of Zambian soccer is dependent on you. Make a bet with us. Remember, you are born for greatness. See you there.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. RenGlow, your smart irrigation partner.
Welcome back. And now in international news, Brazil's former president Jair Bolsonaro is on trial for abuse of power. Both Bolsonaro's allies and opponents believe he is likely to be convicted, which would prevent him from running for office for up to 8 years. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
After authorities in northeast Nigeria closed a dozen camps for people displaced by the region's jihadist conflict, the other camps are increasingly overwhelmed. Thousands have fled to Borno state capital, Maiduguri. For Aisha Usman, feeding her family is becoming more and more difficult. There is still no peace in our village. If my village was peaceful, I would not spend one more day here. Men and women now spend their time under trees doing nothing because of the war. Before this violence, you would never find any grown-up girl at home, but in the bush working to make a living. But now we have all been packed in one place, relying on aid. It's like being in a prison. The bloody conflict fought between the Nigerian army and jihadist groups, including Boko Haram, has been ongoing for 14 years. Although attacks are less numerous than before, the jihadists remain active in the region, notably those of Islamic State group ISWAP. If we go to collect wood, we don't go far, only 3 kilometers away, because the place isn't safe. If we hear any noise or gunshots, we run back and try again the next day. Authorities shut the camps last year, saying they had secured the countryside. Yet with the remaining camps overflowing and food aid increasingly rare, the situation is set to worsen.
In terms of closure by the Borno state government, you can see where these people are coming from. It's an inaccessible area. No one is there. Looking at it, how are we sure where they are taking them to is safe for them to return?
Borno state authorities plan to shut all the camps by 2026 and is encouraging people to return to their villages and farmland.
Hundreds of supporters greeted former President Jair Bolsonaro in the southern state of Rio Grande do Sul, just as the trial to determine his political future kicked off. Bolsonaro says he's a victim and denies any wrongdoing.
Actually, it's a political trial with the lowest of intentions on the part of some. I'm not attacking the superior electoral court, but some of the arguments being made are unbelievable.
In Brasilia, a panel of 7 judges heard from the prosecution and the defense before beginning to rule on the case, which will be decided by a majority. Bolsonaro is being charged with abusing his power as president to undermine the credibility of Brazil's October election, 3 months before he lost his bid for a second term. At the center of the case is a meeting he held with foreign ambassadors, making unfounded claims that Brazil's voting system could be easily rigged and casting doubts on its results.
Bolsonaro's remarks to ambassadors from other countries were broadcasted on public television and social media, allegedly with the intent of attacking the electoral process by spreading, and I quote, disinformation about Brazil's electronic voting system.
At the time of the meeting in July of last year, Brazil was facing a polarized electoral campaign, and polls were showing Bolsonaro trailing behind his arch-rival, current President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Bolsonaro's lawyer says he's being punished simply for expressing his doubts about the electoral system, and that the punishment prosecutors are asking for is unwarranted. If convicted, Bolsonaro would be banned from running for public office until 2030.
We are discussing the succession on the presidential race. We will decide the next president on 2026, and so far Bolsonaro was one of the main pre-candidates, and more likely one of the only ones that could defeat President Lula if he decided to run for re-election. So the implications of this trial is enormous on Brazilian politics.
The trial will resume next week on June 27th, and a decision by the judges could come soon afterwards, before the one-month July recess. Monica Yanakiev, Al Jazeera, Brasilia.
We now have some sports news. Senior Chief Mukula of the Bemba-speaking people of Muchinga province says he is using all tactics available to raise enough resources to successfully host the UKUSEFYA Pangwena traditional ceremony. Speaking on behalf of Paramount Chief Chitimkulu Kanyantamanga at Bonanza Resort at a golf tournament, Chief Mukula says the golf tournament is one activity that has been used to fund resources for the traditional ceremony. He has expressed gratitude toward companies and individuals that have made pledges so far. UKUSEFYA Pangwena traditional ceremony of the Bemba-speaking people will take place from the 17th to the 19th of August 2023.
Fundraising activities for the UKUSEFYA Pangwena traditional ceremony of the Bemba-speaking people in Muchinga province has taken place in Lusaka, Zambia, at the Bonanza Resort, where various people turned up in numbers to play golf. Professional golfers such as Michael Chiluba were among the many people who turned up in numbers to play the game. And speaking on behalf of Paramount Chief Chitimukulu Kanyantamanga, Senior Chief Nkula says the golf tournament is one activity that has been used to fundraise resources for the traditional ceremony.
We are so grateful for those who have contributed already, and those who would want to contribute should also come on board and contribute to this year's UKUSEFYA Pangwena traditional ceremony of the Bemba people. As you are aware, it's during the UKUSEFYA Pangwena traditional ceremony that we transfer our culture and traditions to the young generation, so that they know where we are coming from, where we are, and where we are going. We should also use this opportunity to develop the Bemba land through the inculcation of these cultures and traditions in the young generation. As I've always said, there is no nation that has developed on a borrowed or the imported culture. We are supposed to use our culture in order to develop the areas where we are coming from.
Meanwhile, organizing committee chairperson Dr. Bwalya is optimistic that the traditional ceremony will help in uniting the country full of diverse views.
The expected participation has been to the level that we were really anticipating, and so we have a full field of golfers, we have a bigger field of sponsors and others that are interested in what we're doing here. The main aim of what we're doing here is to really fundraise for the UKUSEFYA Pangwena traditional ceremony, which is set to occur from the 17th to the 19th of August 2023. And so this particular event, the golf tournament, is one in a series of events that we are having as part of this fundraising street carnival. This is set to take place on the 22nd of July 2023. And the idea is to really walk through the streets, demonstrate our tradition and culture, and this will culminate in a golf tournament. Sorry, not in a golf tournament, in a football tournament that will be slated for Munich Sports Complex. And the idea of that tournament is to really bring more groupings together. So there will be a Bemba versus Ngoni game that will be played, then a Lozi versus Tonga game, and ultimately the final will be between the winners of those two contests. And for us, this is really about bringing tribes together, cousinship, and basically rejoicing in the fact that would have culminated in a week leading to the UKUSEFYA Pangwena ceremony itself.
And one of the players, Richard Piri, is happy to have participated in the golf tournament, one of the sport he highly values.
We are playing for Camnet TV. The team, the other two are Kelvin Wemba and Michael Chibu. We are happy with the organization of this tournament. It's a fundraising golf day. For us, we are very happy with the way they have organized it. The members are so organized, we didn't know. And as such, we hope to carry the day with my team. I think so far the tournament is going very well. Just had our lunch with kind compliments of the organizing committee.
The UKUSEFYA Pangwena traditional ceremony will take place from the 17th to the 19th of August 2023, while the golf tournament has been used to network by those who attended. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
On that golf note, we come to the end of our news tonight. Before we go, the headlines once again. Women's movement demands legal reforms to support equal participation in leadership. Brian MUNDUBILE defends the Patriotic Fronts over borrowing. SAMPA sues PF CADRE MAXWELL CHONGU for defamation. In international news, Bolsonaro faces uncertain political future as Brazil trial starts. And in sports news, UKUSEFYA Pangwena traditional ceremony attracts a golf tournament. Our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of James 4, verse 1 to 4. What is the source of wars and fights among you? Don't they come from the cravings that are at war within you? You desire and do not have. You murder and covet and cannot obtain. You fight and war. You do not have because you do not ask. You ask and don't receive because you ask with wrong motives, so that you may spend it on your evil desires. Thank you for watching Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.